If you like Gil Kane, you'll love this. If you don't like Gil Kane, you might love it anyway. So stick with us as we discuss for the whole 2 hours. We'll see. Gil Kane.
Hail Gil.
And there we go. Uh, New to streaming or looking to level out? Check out StreamYard and get $10
Yeah,
discount.
I hit that on accident. Sorry.
Uh, okay. Well, uh, yeah, if you put in your comments early, like I've been putting in my Substack, like um, I have a new Substack account
Mm.
and it's like subscribe to my sub. This is wild. I have like, have like two, doubled up or did have doubled up there. Like we're live
Hmm. Yeah, that's weird
twice.
sometimes, especially if you pop in early and do a comment. Sometimes it gets deleted before the stream starts. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I'm having to pick up my Substack from my. I only have one subscriber, and it may be me. You know, but I do have a new
That's
Substack,
cheating.
and
You're not
here.
supposed to subscribe to yourself.
Well, I don't know that it's me. Okay, I don't know how they count that.
Just
Uh,
messing with it.
yeah. Well, there's my Substack right there. The link to it in the chat if you want to go over there. If you're into Substack, where you can write comments and stuff and share. And I'm not that familiar with it. I don't know how much I'll use it, but I know like Geronimo Jaws and Mike Barron and just a lot of other people over there, and have an account.
You have fun tomorrow, baby.
So it might be, something worth checking out. Here is my Substack right there. So I at least have my little icon and my header up there. Uh, Not only for Devil Flyer, but the 4 o'clock shadow. Since I had that trying to draw from Chad Townsend's another one. You can put up images over there. Some Ninja Turtle that he did. I guess Leonardo, because he's the one with the sword. Vonster's over there. Dwayne's over there from South River Studios. He's over there. So there's some people that you might know over there on Substack, and like I said, Mike Barron. So he's probably got some interesting things that he puts up there. Monster probably does too. I mean, if you know how to use it and you use it, I don't know. Like I say, it's too early for me to commit. You know how.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into the whole Substack thing yet. See how that
Mhm.
works.
So we're gonna check out some Gil Kane and jump right in there. How about Captain America and the Falcon side by side with the X-Men, early X-Men crossover there.
Oh,
Uh,
very cool.
Gil Kane on the cover there with Nick Fury, that little Cyclops, and of course, Captain America and Falcon. But we have a little Marvel girl back there as well,
Yeah,
aka later
they
to be known
miscolored
as
her mask. I see.
Marvel Age of Comics. So You know, kind of a late, 25 center, about 1976, I would say. Um,
Yeah, probably one of the last few before they started raising prices.
yeah, before they, still putting on their Marvel Age of Comics. There's no way we'll be able to get all to this all. Brave and the Bold. I'm sorry, House of Mystery 180. If I can get my mouth to work, was the first DC Comics I ever bought. Says Miss Claudia. It included two Gil Kane stories as well as this breathplate, the breathtaking splash page. There we go.
Cool.
So there's your lizard representation right off the bat, Lorenzo. Eh, via
Oh yeah,
Gil
look at
Kane.
that. He looks a little horny.
You know, I had to check back in on. I did send out a link to Andy Smith because I know that he is a fan of Gil Kane. Of course, there's a lot of fans of Gil Kane out there, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
also Dan Lawless. So we'll see if they can join us. Um,
yeah, that'd be cool.
Here you go. King Size Annual, Warlord of Mars. I know Timothy Olsen will like. He may not be aware of this. He's a big fan of Warlord of Mars, the movie and
Yep.
everything.
Turned
But one reason I'm focused on Gil Kane, and we've talked about it before, is just look how much he packs into a cover,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
designs, you know,
He always had some of the best covers, man.
different inkers, of course, are going to give different results, different looks, but it's amazing just the different uh, covers that he was able to come up with. Of course, early on, and we say early on for me was like his Green Lantern and Atom stuff of the Silver Age. But
Yeah.
hell, he goes all the way back to the mid 40s. Shadowhawk, he goes
Wow.
back to the Golden Age
Yeah, that's
in
crazy.
comics. But
So he was
we
probably
all
like,
know.
what, in his 50s or so by the time I was looking at his stuff he was doing in the 70s.
Well, he died in 2000, and like I said, the Blood of My Ancestors was the last thing that he did, uh, and it was the last project that uh, John Buscema worked on, and
Right.
he was born April 6th, 1926, and he died January 31st, 2000.
It's my birthday.
Hmm.
He was born in Latvia. Wow.
Oh,
And
wow.
died in Miami, Florida.
Well, there you go. At least he got to retire somewhere nice.
Maybe he was, since he's a Latvian, maybe he's secretly, um, maybe he was secretly Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Just
Or
spitballing
maybe
there.
one of his minions. You know?
Eli Katz, Katz, was his given name. He was Jewish.
Mhm.
Was a Latvian-born American comic artist whose career spanned from the 1940s to the 1990s in virtually every major comic company and character. Kane created the modern day versions of superheroes Green Lantern and the Atom for DC Comics and co created Iron Fist and Adam Warlock with Roy Thomas for Marvel Comics. He was involved in the anti drug storyline in Amazing Spider Man 96 through 98, which didn't have an authority code with it. Kind of broke type there,
Hmm.
which at the behest of the U.S. Department of Health and Education and Welfare bucked the then prevalent Comics Code Authority to depict drug abuse and ultimately spurred an update of the code, basically a doing away of the code, really.
Yeah.
Kane additionally pioneered as early graphic novel prototype. His name is Savage in 1968. So an early sort of indie person, you know,
Yeah, very cool.
and a seminal graphic novel Black Mask in 1971. In 1997, he was inducted into both the Will Eisner Comic Book Hall of Fame and the Harvey Award Jack Kirby Hall of Fame. So that was a very good year for him, 1997.
Wow.
And he got to live to see it, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
His family immigrated to the U.S. in 1929, settled in Brooklyn, New York City. His father was a struggling poultry merchant. Kane attended high school at Manhattan School of Industrial Art, but left in his senior year when he saw an opportunity to work for MLJ Comics, later Archie Comics. He recalled in a 1996 interview, for the first time, I was 15. I was going up to the comic offices. My first job came the next year at 16. So he was in comics from 16 to his death.
Wow, that's
Wow.
amazing.
During my summer vacation between years of high school, and I went up and got a job working at MLJ in 1942. I was in my last year of high school. When I left, I was 16 and I'd already started my last year, but I'd already gotten my job the summer before at MLJ. So I didn't want to give up my job. I quit school in the last grade.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, how much could you really learn, you know, in your senior year, you know, until being fired after 3 weeks? Oh my God.
Ouch.
Maybe he must have stayed in school. No notifications have went out today. No one's watching. Yes, there's a few people watching, but no one's chimed in.
Well,
But
you
that's
scheduled
okay.
a bunch of them ahead, so I don't think anybody got notifications today.
Oh, well, maybe I only did 3 a day, you know.
I
So
don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, but they kind of get buried. I had to go look through the list of them. There was like 5 or 6 of them that had
okay.
already been from
Keep
the
it
other
fresh.
day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, YouTube doesn't stack them in order. So
Okay. Kane worked in. I'm still eating donuts, by the way. I'm on my last one, by the way. After a dozen.
lemon pie. Hey, Cookie Comics.
Hey, Cookie Comics. We're talking Gil Kane today. Omer Glench just sent me here. Good.
Cool. Tell
Yeah,
Homer
she's
Lisa.
been here. Or he
Yeah,
enjoyed the
I,
donuts. Haha. Oh, I
I
did.
believe Cookie was a lady,
Yeah, Cookie's been
but
here.
could be wrong.
Kane worked in production, putting borders on pages. The letters would only put the letterers would only put in the lettering, not the balloons. So I would put in the borders, balloons, and I'd finish up artwork, whatever had to be done on a lesser scale. Within a couple of days of being let go, I got a job with Jack Binder's agency. Jack Binder had a loft on Fifth Avenue, and it just looked like an internment camp. There must have
Oh
been
God.
50 or 60 guys up there, all at drawing tables. Wow. We had to account for the paper that you took. Kane began penciling professionally there, but they weren't terribly happy with what I was doing. But when I was rehired by MLJ 3 weeks later, wow, what's with 3 weeks later? Not only did they put me back into the production department and give me an increase, I guess, of pay, they gave me my first job, which was Inspector Bentley of Scotland Yard in Pep Comics. And then they gave me a whole issue of The Shield and Dusty, one of their leading books. The Shield, by the way, was the first patriotic hero. It beat out Captain America.
Yeah.
By about a year. He would also do spot illustrations for other studios, he says. His earliest known credit is inking Carl Hubel on the 6-page Scarlet Avenger superhero story, The Counterfeit Money Code, in MLJ's Zip Comics number 14, cover dated May 1941, on which he signed the name Gil Kane. So Gil Kane was really a pseudonym for his real name. Right. Other early credits include some issues of Comics, Pep Comics, sometimes under pseudonyms, including Stack Teal and Stack Teal, put together, separate and put together. That's unusual. And in conjunction with artist Penn Shoemaker, Penn Star. So he sent us things Penn Star a few times. He even used his birth name on rare occasions. Wow. Including on at least one story each in the Termerson Continental Publishing Group's Terrific Comics and Catman Comics. In 1944, he did his first work for the future Marvel Comics, which would have been timely at that time, right? As one of two inkers on the 28th page, The Spawn of Death, in the wartime Kid Gang comic Young Allies number 11, March 1944, and the future DC Comics, which would have been National Comics at that time, as the uncredited ghost artist for Jack Kirby on the Sandman superhero story Courage a la carte in Adventure Comics number 91, May 1944. That same year, Kane either was drafted or enlisted in the Army and served in World War II Pacific Theater of Operations. I wonder why they don't have a record of that, or at least, was he drafted or did he enlist? Hey, Mike Walters in the house.
I don't think they had the draft in World War II, did they? He just enlisted.
You got me there with that question. After, I heard that there was like 34,000, yesterday was the 80th anniversary, Shadowhawk, of the ending of World War II.
Right.
Even the communists got together and celebrated it. Xi and Putin and all them got together, had a little rally, whatever, little get together, a little summit. Not only, I guess it was still going on today, but 80th anniversary, and there's still, I heard on the radio, there's still like 34,000 of our veterans still alive from World War II. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
There was a guy speak out. He joined like the Navy, something merchant Navy or something, when he was like 16, and was speaking. He was like 97. Speaking yesterday on the 80th anniversary. He was probably thinking, I don't know if I'm going to come out of this war alive, much less speak 80 years later about the war,
Right.
Living history, though. So Gil Kane, let's see, he either he either enlisted or he was drafted. I don't know. After 19 months in the service, he returned to, in December 1945, All American Publications with editor Sheldon Mayer. Hired him in 1947 for a stint that lasted 6 months. He contributed again to the Sandman feature in Adventure Comics, and as penciler Gil Stack and inker Phil Martell to the Wildcat feature in Sensation Comics. Around this time, he said, he worked with director Garson Kanan when he was involved in TV drawing storyboards. In 1949, Kane began a long time professional relationship with Julia Schwartz, which I got to meet a couple times, and Tank Ferret was kind of like an uncle to Tank Ferret when he was a young boy. An
Wow.
editor at National Comics and the future DC Comics. Um, Kane drew stories for several DC series in the 1950s, including All Star Western, and we'll look at some of those, and the Adventures of Rex the Wonder Dog.
Hey.
In the late 1950s, freelancing for DC Comics, precursor National Comics, of course, Kane illustrated works in what fans and
Wait, Jerry.
historians called the Silver Age of the comic books, creating character designs for the modern day version of the 1940s superhero Green Lantern, for which he penciled most of the first 75 issues of the reimagined characters comic. Uh, Comics historian Les Daniels praised Kane's work on the character, stating the design was part of an approach that emphasized grace as well as strength, an approach especially notable in Kane's flying scenes. Green Lantern appeared to soar effortlessly across the cosmos. DC Comics writer and executive Paul Levitz noted in 2010 that Kane modeled the Guardians on Israeli founding father David Ben Gurion, even as the human figures in the cast tend to mimic Kane's own tall, elongated build. Kane and writer Jim Broom's stories for the Green Lantern series included transforming Hal Jordan love interest Carol Ferris into the star Sapphire in issue 16. Black Hand, a character featured prominently in the Blackest Night storyline in 2009 and 10, debuted in issue 29, June 1964, as Broom and Kane, the creative team, Guy Gardner in the story Earth's Other Green Lantern in issue 59,
Oh
1968.
wow.
So
I
he
didn't know
goes way
Guy
back.
Gardner had been around that long.
Oh, yeah. Kane similarly co created an updated version of the Atom with writer Gardner Fox. Kane, who in 1960 was living in Jericho, New York on Long Island, also drew the youthful superhero team, the Teen Titans, a revival of Plastic Man. And in the early 1960s, such short lived titles as Hawk and Dove and the licensed character comic Captain Action, based on the action figure. Kane and Marv Wolfman created an origin for Wonder Girl in Teen Titans number 22, 1969, which introduced the character's new costume. So he's doing a lot at that time. Wow, all these characters are so much older than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been here 20 minutes, just realized I hadn't said hi. Hey, Gary. And
Hi,
Omer
kid.
Glitz in the house. Thank you for sending Cookie Comics over. We're talking all things Gil Kane today, and we'll be looking at a lot of his covers and interior work in just a moment. But I want to give you some background on the man and maybe learn
Hey,
something more about him. He briefly freelanced some Hulk stories, and Marvel Comics Tales to Astonish, doing some covers too, some nice covers. First, under the pseudonym Scott Edward, and then in his own name, defying the practice in which DC artists moonlighting at Marvel use pseudonyms. He and writer editor Stan Lee introduced the Abomination. So I guess he's the creator of the co-creator of Abomination with Stan Lee
oh, that's cool.
as an enemy of the Hulk in Tales of to Astonish number 90, 1967. Kane also freelanced in the 1960s at Power Comics, which, Wally Wood was a part of, Thunder Agents.
Yeah.
I know it. Oh, yeah, he did some work for them. A super espionage title. And the way as the Tiger Boy strip from Harvey Comics, Kane then found a home at Marvel, eventually becoming the regular pencil for Amazing Spider-Man succeeding John Romita Sr. in the early 1970s and became the company's preeminent cover artist, though, through that decade. I would say so. I would say
Yeah.
so. Kane's first
Mhm.
Spider-Man storyline culminated in the death of supporting character George Stacy, which was Gwen Stacy's father, just to let you know. During that run, he and editor-writer Stan Lee produced in 1971 a three-issue story arc in the Amazing Spider-Man number 96 to 98, May, July 1971, that marked the first challenge of the industrial self-regulating comics code authority since its inception in 1954. The code for forbade mentions of drugs, even in negative context. However,
Yeah.
Lee and Kane created an anti-drug storyline conceived as the at the behest of the U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. And upon not receiving a code authority approval, Marvel published the issues without the code seal on their covers. The comics met with such positive reception and high sales that the industrial self censorship was undercut, and the code soon afterward was revamped. Another landmark in Kane's Spider-Man run was the arc the night Gwen Stacy died in issues 121 and 22 in June,
Yeah.
July 1973, in which Spider-Man's girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, as well as the longtime villain Green Goblin, were killed, an unusual occurrence at the time. With writer Roy Thomas, Kane helped revise the Marvel Comics version of Captain Marvel, gave him a new costume, right? Because sales
Yeah.
were sagging, and revamped a pre-existing character of as Adam Warlock. Kane and Thomas co-created the martial artist superhero Iron Fist and Morbius. So there's your creators, Roy Thomas and Gil Kane for Morbius, Shadowhawk.
Ah, very nice.
Kane and writer Gary Conway transformed John Jameson, an incidental character in the Amazing Spider-Man series, into the Man Wolf.
Yeah.
So you can thank Gil Kane for that, along with Gary Conway. Conway and Kane's collaborator on the death of Gwen Stacy storyline and elsewhere described Kane in 2009 as a marvelous draftsman and an idiosyncratic storyteller. I quickly learned that working with him, Marvel style, that's when a writer gives the artist the plot and the artist breaks down the story panel by panel, page by page, could sometimes result in lopsided storytelling. The first two-thirds of a story would be leisurely paced, and the last third would be a hell bent for leather, as as Gil tried to make up for loose storytelling in the first book. So after doing a few stories with him in my usual loosely plotted style, I began giving him tighter plots, indicating where the story had to be by such and such a page. He seemed to prefer this, and I generally happier with the later stories we did than the first few. Yeah. Uh, Ryan's in house, dude. The thumbnail of Devil Flyer for today's episode is so good. Is that Dillard? Thumbnail of Devil Flyer for today. Did we
I
have?
forget what today's thumbnail was. Oh, I think it was
I do too.
was it the Demon Flyer?
Oh yeah,
Might have
yeah.
been.
That's the armored flyer. Yeah.
Armored Flyer. Yeah.
Uh-huh. That is Dillard. Yes. That's up on the campaign. Uh, Kane's side projects included two long works that he conceived, plotted, and illustrated with scripting by Archie Goodwin, writer under the pseudonym of Robert Franklin. His name is Savage. Adventure House Press, 1968, and a self-published 40-page magazine format comics novel, and The Black Mask, 1971, a science fiction sword and sorcery uh, paperback published by Bantam Books, and one of the earliest examples of the graphic novel, a term not in general use at the time. Howard Chaykin served as Kane's assistant during the production a black mark and would call Kane the most influential male in my life. During the 1970s and 1980s, Kane did character designs for various Hanna-Barbera and Ruby Spears animated TV series, including The Centurions, which he co-created with Jack Kirby in 1974. He contributed to redesigning the obscure Marvel Comics character, the Cat, into Tigera. And 3 years later, he created the newspaper daily comic strip Starhawks with Ron Goulart. The strip, which ran through 1981, was known for its experimental use of a two-tier format during the first years. During this decade, he was also illustrated paperback and record album covers, drew model box art, and co-wrote with John Jakes the 1980 novel Excalibur. He drew the John Carter Warlord of Mars series for Marvel beginning in June 1977, Star Wars here. In 1971, Kane met Michael Greg Regener, then the editor of French Belgian comics anthology Tintin Weekly. He ended up creating a science fiction fantasy tale called Jason Drum about an astronaut stranded on a sword and sorcery world. The series debuted in Tintin Weekly, making the cover of number 202, July 1979. Due to a medical emergency, Kane reached out to Joe Staton to help with layouts and started with Tintin 205. Uninked pencils pages were sent to France. Belgian artist Franz inked 5 pages of Kane's pencils and penciled and inked the last pages of the story himself in 206 and 207, 1978. After his recovery, Kane lost contact with Tintin. In 2006, Kane's friend Gary Groth and publisher of Fantagraphics discovered that Kane eventually finished the Jason Drum project with 44 fully inked pages with dialogue. This project had never been published in English, but the original 27-page version, assisted by Staten and Franz, was published in some other languages, including Swedish as backup in Lee Fox the Phantom in 1988. Kane was one of the artists on the double-sized Justice League of America number 200, came out March 1982. Had a brief run on the Micronauts series in 1982. In the 1980s, he shared regular art duties on the Superman feature and Action Comics with Kurt Swan and contributed to the 1988 Superman animated TV series. The Brainiac character, a nemesis of Superman, was revised by Kane and Marv Wolfman. That's when he became more robotic looking, right? With the crystalline looking head. And
Yeah,
had
I think so.
the tentacle ship and everything. So Kane and Marv Wolfman in Action Comics 544, June 1983. He was one of the contributors to DC Challenge limited series in 1986. Kane was the artist on the early Green Lantern serial in the short-lived anthology Action Comics Weekly from 601 to 605 with writer James Osley, and illustrated the Nightwing cover for issue 627 in 1988. He returned to drawing the Atom in the Sword of the Atom limited series, a collaboration with writers Jan Stranad in 1989-1990. Kane illustrated a comic book adaptation of Richard Wagner's mythology opera epic, The Ring of Nimlung. And we'll take a look at that cover. During the following decade, Kane drew for publishers including Topps Comics, for which he illustrated a miniseries adaptation of the film Jurassic Park. Malibu Comics, for which He and writer Steve Grant, and Steve Grant to me, he wrote The Badger, remember?
Oh
Created
yeah.
the
Yeah.
superhero Edge for 1994-95 miniseries Awesome Entertainment, in which he illustrated Alan Moore's four-page Kid Thunder story, Judgment Day, 1868, in Judgment Day Alpha number 1, June 1997, and DC, for which he drew several Superman stories. He was one of the many creators who uh, contributed to the Superman The Wedding album, one shot within the title character married to Lois Lane. He and his former apprentice, Howard Chaykin, worked again together on a three-part story for Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, 24 through 26, 91, 92, and the Superman Distant Fires one shot. Kane collaborated with infamous, and that's my words, writer Mark Waid on this life story of the Flash graphic novel. As well, during that decade, he designed the set for the 1997 uh, Santa Monica Playhouse production of the play Lovely. So that's wild. Uh, though his last full comic during his lifetime was Awesome's 40-page Judgment Day Aftermath number 1, March 1998, written by Moore and featuring the characters and teams Glory, Space Hunter, Youngblood, and other in individual titles. His final narrative works, all for DC, were penciled the two-page Antibiotics, The Killers That Save Lives in Celebrate the Century Superhero Stamp album, number 5, 1999. I have a few of those. I don't think I have that one. Portions of 7 pages of the cover are shared with humor artist Sergio Aragonés of
Oh
DC
wow.
Fanboy number 2, April 1999, and a 2-page something of 1970s Hostess fruit pie superhero ads, the Star Sheriffs, and Green Lantern Secret Files Origins number 2, September 1999. His last published comic art during his lifetime was a one-page illustration in Dark Horse Comics Sin City, Hell and Back, number 4, October
Wow.
1999. After he died, published with his final completed work, the 2-issue Green Lantern Atom story in Legends of the DC Universe, number 28 and 29, May, June 2000, and 4 years later, the final issue drawn in the middle 1990s of Malibu's planned 4-issue series Edge as part of the book's hardcover collection, The Last Heroes. And they're not really mentioning Death of My Ancestors, and I don't know if they are going to. He remained active as an artist to his death, January 3rd, 2000, in Miami, Florida, from complications of lymphoma. He was survived by his second wife, Ellen, as well as a son and 2 stepchildren. As homage to Kane and to writer John Broome, appears in Darkest Night, a novelization of the Justice League animated series. The book refers to Kane and Broome Institute for Space Studies in Code City. So putting in little things into the story, I think that's cool. Kane received numerous awards over the years, including 1971, 72, 75 National Cartoon Society Award for comic book story and groups, newspaper strips, story strip award for 1977 Hawks. He also received the Comic Books Industry Shazam Award for special recognition in 1971 for Black Mark, his paperback comics novel, and was given an Inkpot Award in 1975. Kane was named to both the Eisner Award Hall of Fame and the Harvey Award Jack Kirby Hall of Fame in 1997.
Very cool.
So, yeah, lots of stuff, lots of stuff. He worked on Action Comics, Nightwing, let's see, for DC Comics, Adventure Comics, Adventures uh, the of Rex the Wonder Dog, all American Men of War, All-American Western, All-Star Comics, All-Star Western, All-Star Westerns, Western. Let's see, Atari Force, Adam, Batman, Batman Legends of Dark Knight, Blue Beetle, Blue Devil, Boy Commandos, Captain Action, DC Challenge that DC Comics presents. Number 28, Johnny Thunder, Rex the Wonder Dog, and 35, because they would do backup stories, right? Whatever happened to Johnny Thunder, whatever happened to Rex the Wonder Dog,
Uh-huh.
and Superman and Shazam, annual number 3, came out in 80 through 84. I don't know what that is. Detective Comics did Batman and Robin, Elongated Man, Batgirl, Catwoman. Doomsday Annual number 1 came out in 95. Falling in Love, so some of his romance stuff from 56 to 65. Fanboy number 2. The Flash, Forbidden Tales of Dark Mansion. Girls' love stories, girls' romances, Green Lantern, Green Lantern Corps, Green Lantern Secret Files and Origins, Hawk and Dove, Hopalong Cassidy, House of Mystery, House of Secrets, Jimmy Wakely, Justice League of America, and that's just through the J's, and that's DC Comics.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
his Marvel stuff is probably just as extensive. For Quality Comics, he did Doll Man number 19 in 1948. So, wow, quite the resume for Gil Kane. I'm almost
Yeah.
red in the face, talking about it. Please send me that armored flyer pic. Yeah, we'll need that, I guess, for reference when you get a chance. Absolutely, I will. Is that a new torture method? Rex reading to us is excruciating. Okay, well, I'm done. Now we're gonna come to the fun part, which is looking at all that great Gil Kane artwork. So
There you go.
it's not all that bad, he says. I'm just trying to be funny. Yeah.
Yeah, keep trying them.
Yeah, hit the like. Yeah, you keep trying on that humor. I wish you would stop actually, but oh, so now we come to the fun part. Yay! Which is, looking at some of this great Gil Kane artwork that I've gotten off Twitter. You're going to like this one, the first appearance and first cover appearance of,
Yeah. There we
and
go.
first full appearance, really, of Spidey with 6 arms.
I love his Morbius, man. It's so
Mhm.
good.
I like that very few people. I can think of one cover with my favorite cover by Larry Lieber um, of The Living Mummy, where he's sort of doing a Heil Hitler type thing, raising his hand and
Oh yeah, I
smacking
know
the
what
guy
you're talking.
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just kind of backhanding Spidey here. I like that. It's so dismissive and it's so powerful.
Yeah.
I think we skipped the page there. Yeah, look at that. What a title. A monster called Morbius, but then you see Peter Parker mutated and have 4 more arms.
Turning into the actual Spider-Man.
Yeah. Roy Thomas doing the writing on this, and Frank Giacoa doing the inking over Gil Kane here in this issue. Look at Morbius's face. That upturned nose, man. Right there, it's just nostrils straight on.
Yeah. Well,
What
it's
a
kind of
look.
like. Yeah, I love the way Gil did those Morbius books, man. I fell in love with them.
Yeah, and this is his first appearance here. Look at that. Can you imagine doing Spidey, but you got to put on 4 more arms and make it look somewhat realistic?
Yeah, that's got to be difficult.
Yeah, you would think. Another Green Lantern, some of his early work here. Secret of the Power Ring Robot. So, I mean, by this time, you're right. I mean, he started out in the 40s very early on, right?
Right.
Here's one of his Iron Man covers because he did a lot of Iron Man. That the
I
black
forget
llama.
what the number was. It was Eric or Apex, one of our research guys out in the chat, had put down how many covers he did. Um, it was
Wow.
a crazy large amount. It
I
was just the
imagine
other
it
day.
is. Yeah. And I think, for me, we've talked about it before. I think his best work was at Marvel. I mean, I can't imagine the Bronze Age without all these great covers,
Oh yeah,
that Gil Kane did. Just
yeah.
amazing.
I think that was his. That's when he really hit his stride. When he was
And then look at that burst out cover. First appearance of the Defenders right there.
nice.
What a lineup, man. Gil
Yeah,
is
they'd put
awesome.
anybody together
Morbius
in a
looked so
team back
cool back
then.
then. Yep.
They just throw them all together and see what happens. I agree, Cookie. I think Morbius has never looked better, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he had such a distinct look for the character. And one of my favorites, the Beast. Gil Kane covers. So that's got to make my top 10. The first Gray Beast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. From Amazing Adventures, the Beast. When he mutates further, takes a solution. Very, with Bill Everett inking. So you can't get much better than that. Hopefully he was sober. Here's another Gil Kane cover right there.
Oh, the Submariner action, very cool.
And with Orca, the killer whale. I
Yeah,
was first introduced to Orca in probably at the end of the story of Avengers 148. He was definitely on the cover of 149, done by George Perez. So I was introduced to this character also, Ballast, however you say his name. Not in this issue, but another
Backlash.
Marvel team up.
Oh,
What is it?
Basilisk. I'm sorry.
Basilisk. Okay, he's kind of like a serpent-like costume.
Yeah, I think he was. Didn't he become part of the Serpent Society at some point?
Don't remember that.
Yeah, I can't remember for sure.
Death Squad. So we got the Melter back there and some others. The Black Llama. Melt that armor off your flesh. He did some awesome Iron Man covers. But he did quite a bit of Conan as well.
Yeah.
There's
Hell,
just
he
some
did a little
Timothy
bit of
action.
everything, dude. I mean, I'm sure. I don't
Oh
know if
yeah,
there's a book
man.
that his hand didn't touch at some point.
You talk about prolific. Look at the moloids falling to their, at least in the water, maybe to their death. Aye.
Yeah.
Mo Man with the little, I don't know what you call it. Not really crew cut, but little top hair. Looks a little wild. But look how much he just fits into the design of a piece. It's amazing. Look at this. One of the best Avengers covers. Kind of different to see Magneto in those colors for his costume, isn't it? The red and blue. But look just how much he's fit into that. That's amazing. There you go. He probably came up with Hector Harmon. This is drawing of Hector Harmon. Never much cared for that character. This is an early Green Lantern that, man, I just love this cityscape, how simple it is, with the coloring, which was probably done by Jack Adler. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. Love the coloring. Here's some Westerns. That early Gil Kane stuff. Created by Gardner Fox and Gil Kane, Madam 44 seems to have been introduced to shake up what was then DC's worst selling title. Ooh. Here is one of my favorites that I own.
Oh yeah, I got this one.
What if the Avengers had never been? Gil Kane cover. The interesting thing about this is how they inked it. Look at Thor down there. He almost looks like he's got a black goatee.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have went so dark with the black of his neck there,
Right.
because it really does look strange.
Yeah, it does look a little off there.
A little, yeah. Checker top cover. There you go.
Oh, that's a great one.
And did you know that? Well, wait a minute. Already running out of material? No, let me update this thing. Hal Jordan was based on a celebrity. Yeah, very dramatic. Yeah. For the time. Is that same orca that marries the croc in the sewers? Don't remember that. I doubt it.
Yeah, I have no idea on that one.
Let's see if I've got additional material to show you. It'd be awful if it didn't download, but somebody suggested I update. Here we go. All right. I think it's updated now. And we can continue with the Gil Kane Feast for the Eyes. Another checker top cover here. Just checking. I have to check every now and then. Here he is with the original Green Lantern, Alan
Scott.
What was his name? Alan Scott. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Another checker top cover.
No problem.
That was, do you know, Morton Nodell was the creator of the first Green Lantern, but Gil Kane was co-creator of the, revised version.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he just did that, he would be remembered, and redesigning
Well,
the Atom. But he did so much
I think I
more.
told you before, Green Lantern was my first and only subscription that I did, getting them delivered in the mail. And that was during Gil Kane's run on Green Lantern.
Well, if you see this on the stands, you can tell what's going on 20 feet away.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's not well, it's not Image and it's not so busy, whatever. I mean, you could still make it busy and color it right, and it would probably translate better than a lot of the digital colorists, because I mean, look at this. This is you could tell this what was going on, a fight scene from 30 feet away.
Oh yeah.
I wish they would, I mean, you kind of get where Momentum Comics is going to go on the coloring, it's going to lean heavily into being recognizable. Oh, that's got a subscription increase. I think you said your subscription was kind of like mangled in the mail, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like wrapped in a brown wrapper, kind of like the old Playboys used to come.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, don't
But
want
it didn't
the
wrap
neighbors
both
to know
ends.
you're reading comic
It
books.
it was just like a band that they put around it. It didn't wrap the ends of it, It was just, you had like about an inch on the top and an inch on the bottom of the book that would stick out. So I had a lot of tattered dog-eared corners on those.
I thought that, I don't remember seeing this one. This one's interesting, almost like a crucifixion type thing on the magnet, Dr. Polaris.
That DC's
I
Magneto.
would say he doesn't have a great rogues gallery, really. He
Green
this
Lantern?
is the Kane cover right here, and what's unusual about this is Man Thing is brown.
Yeah.
Even in the bullet up there. The very first Marvel 2-in-1. I actually have this one in my collection in pretty nice
Oh,
shape.
that was the very first one. Oh, wow.
Number 1. Look how dramatic.
Yeah.
You
Look at that
took my
punch, man.
slipper.
Throwing everything into it. Wow.
Look at this. Spotty outside a window. Look at that. Nice splash page.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be some thought put into that, right? To make it look right. I mean,
Oh yeah, for sure.
he makes
He's
it
even
look
got
so
it at a little
effortless.
bit of a Dutch angle. So,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, that Conan's sharp.
Yeah. I like that the boat, carved front of the boat almost looks like dragon coming after them,
Hmm.
just like,
I love the guy's face
destroy
down there in the corner.
that.
Great snake.
You dirty rat, you killed my mother. And you can tell he inked this by himself because he put GK there. And he only did that when he inked himself. And this was inked with a flare pen. Not a
Yeah.
lot of difference on line weights, really, but this was the Gil Kane that I was exposed to in the 80s, really. He was also Roy Lichtenstein, he was also emulated by the painter Roy Lichtenstein.
Well,
There's that cover we were talking about. The ring. Here's one that's slabbed. I just grabbed what I could. Look at that, where Paladin is like looming over the city with a gun pointed at Daredevil. It's just,
yeah, Gil was good
you
for
know,
those covers where he had the big giant enemy in the background.
mm-hmm. Love that skeleton with the in the foreground with the cobwebs.
Yeah.
Here's some interior work on Conan. Definitely fierce face for Conan. Very dramatic. This is a nice cover. Look at that.
Ooh, Satana.
The Devil's Daughter for the first time. Yeah, I didn't know that, he helped change the cat into Tigera. So he's kind of
Yeah,
a
I didn't know.
co-creator of Tigera.
Yeah. I like Tiger a lot too. First time I saw her, I love that character.
Mm-hmm. Devil's Daughter. Menace in the Iron Lung. Wow. There's only one person still in an iron lung.
Somebody's still in one? Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
did a
crazy.
story on that the other day. Sinestro. I didn't hear him mention about Sinestro, but I imagine Gil Kane probably co-created Sinestro as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Wouldn't
Probably, I
put
would
it
think.
past him. There's Broom, the writer, back in the day.
Yeah.
That's a nice one there. But he really shone when it came to the Marvel
Yeah, I think
stuff. Great design.
really
Drawings are
got
very
into
dramatic for the time. Yes. Yeah, I know Jack Kirby was a big influence on him. Here he is in Tomb of Dracula 25.
Oh, very nice.
I mean, just look how much he packs in on one, you're in the environment, right?
Mm-hmm. It's not just a pinup cover.
No. look at this. I mean, this has got a lot in it too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he
And
always did the nice backgrounds and lots of multiple characters. Like like that
yeah,
one right there.
I think artists should go all out on a cover, because that's what's most important to a comic book or any magazine, right? The cover sells it.
Yeah.
Not always, but um, the covers that should be treated as special. I think overall.
Yeah. I mean, that's your bread and butter, right? That's what draws people in is the covers. So
Conan the Barbarian number 17 cover.
very cool.
And interior. So there's that piece from that we looked at separate from the credits and everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was from Conan 17. And think about all the alien creatures and races that he got to create in Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What fun, right? That's a nice one. I actually have a copy of this in my collection, although it's not in that great a shape. You crazy fool. Your abuse of green power destroyed every person on Earth.
So
I'll take a hickory stick to you, which, if you know Green Lantern lore, you know. I like that he obscured Captain America's crotch here,
every
with a
day's an
little
update.
die, Captain America. Bah.
Yeah.
Double feature reprinted Tales of Suspense stories. So but it had original covers, for some of them, updated covers. And Gil Kane did more than one. I know. Number 17's nice too. I actually have this one in my collection. One of your favorite characters, right? Look at that.
Oh yeah, very nice.
I like the muted color on it. Like there's not a lot on the creature. It's just kind of like a blue green.
I actually did a art project back in junior high school that was based on that same book where he was fighting those creatures.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
I loved his
I wish I
Defender
still had it. I
cover.
don't know what happened. It got lost
Some
in
of
one of
his
my
most
movies.
complex Defender, covers were done in Defenders. He did a lot of Defenders covers that were really, really nice
Mm.
early on in the run. I know you've seen a bunch of them. Here's one
Oh,
that he did for Avengers when I was collecting Avengers for about a year, and then this came out. Graviton, love it.
hmm.
Such a diversity of things that he's done, right? With different characters.
Oh, dude, that's like I'm saying. I don't know if there's anything he didn't touch back in the
Yeah.
day.
Help me, I'm falling.
Daredevil will be fine.
Fear is a man. And yet it has the woman groveling. I don't know who did. One of the first comics that I ever read was Defenders 15. This is the cover to 16. I never got to read this one.
Oh, really?
By the time I read 15, and I didn't even know at that time that these things were continued.
Right.
And I bought them secondhand, so it was about a year old when I got it. So I never got to see the conclusion. And this was the cover.
That was one problem with the old spinner racks. You couldn't be guaranteed you were going to get what you wanted every month.
Yeah. I think I've got a copy of this one too.
But I still miss the days when they used to be in all the drugstores.
Oh yeah, this is kind of a weird one.
Yeah, that's definitely a different look. Let me just put my face on and we can go to dinner.
Let me just say one word to you, Skynet. Shadow, are you doing okay? Rough day, Omer Glitz says.
Yeah, every day is rough, Homer. That's my life.
Every day in the grinder.
It is what it is.
Iron Fist. Look at how much is going on there. Kick ass. Wah! Of course, this was back in the Bruce Lee days, right? Right after Bruce Lee passed away.
Yeah. That's not Colossus, is it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Although that would have been great.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Wait a minute. Let me go back here. What's going on? What's going on with that? So all of a sudden we're looking at a
little pork chop. Oh wait.
Oh, Andy Smith actually did that one. Warhawk. Little known character, Warhawk. And I can tell by the inking there, I think that was the inking on that one's Tom Palmer, probably.
Yeah, that looks like
it makes
Palmer
a difference. Oh, Bob McLeod, early Bob McLeod.
Oh, Bob McLeod, yeah, he's good too.
What a great cover. Gil Kane hands, look at that.
Yeah.
Very distinctive. In a lot of ways, I think his anatomy is more correct because I can look in my own anatomy and look at it.
Right.
And I can just see, like this leg here of Green Lantern, I can see my leg doing that, you know, if you look down it in foreshortening.
Yeah.
This was the last Green Lantern he worked on, I think.
Don't know if I got that one or not.
Again, with the flare tip pen on the inking.
Yeah, look at that top panel there, dude. That's fucking. Oh, look at that one.
I know, right? He's banging it. Look at that.
Damn. So good.
I'd be intrigued just because why isn't this guy blue? The guy from AO?
I love the way when he had his characters flying, he would like make them bend their bodies into the wind and stuff. You know, he had a very cool. He really like emphasized it on those Morbius covers.
Yeah,
and yeah, I fell in love with that stuff.
He definitely used foreshortening to his advantage.
I didn't even know at the time. I was probably already getting my Green Lantern subscription when I found the Morbius books. And I didn't even realize it was the same guy drawing them until years later.
Actually, Andy Smith, you know, posted a bunch of these. He's had a Gil Kane, a lot of posts over there on Gil Kane, talking about Gil Kane.
Andy's a big Gil fan.
Love the Green Lantern Corps. You know, that really brought me more into Green Lantern, all the weird aliens. Look at Kilowog back there. That does not look like your standard Kilowog face. Look how much bigger it looks.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of the Green Lantern Corps kind of brought me back because I had kind of wandered off from Green Lantern. I was into the horror books and stuff, and then when Green Lantern Corps came back, I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Look at that slam, cram. You know, the sound effects.
The onomatopoeia.
We'll go outside and do it.
Fast.
I did not know this. Look, Green Lantern has the Dazzler.
Oh, how dare you pick on that young lady?
I know, right? Blast that mutant babe. from Marvel. I'm gonna have to pick that one up now. That's
Well,
number
you know what though?
49
She
from
could easily
1920.
overcome him by just channeling yellow light. So
Look at that.
Dazzler would actually be a pretty good foe for Green Lantern.
He did a lot of Champions cover. He did the very first Champions cover.
Yeah, well, Champions, Defenders, he did a lot of those.
Some of his best, I think,
Didn't
were
he
those
do?
Defenders.
Did he do some of the Inhumans too when the Inhumans first came out, or was that someone else?
Inhumans. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's done some Inhumans. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I
I
thought
remember
so.
picking this one up off the stands.
Oh, that's a cool one.
Mm-hmm.
The Easter Island heads are digging themselves out. Yeah, we looked at this one earlier. I think that's
No,
great.
this is another one.
Oh,
that
it's a
he did.
different one? Okay.
Look at that. Number 100 was done by Gil
Oh,
Kane.
yeah. I got this one, actually.
Oh, that's going to be a good one to have. Yeah. Of course, he known for doing the Atom, redesign of the Atom and Showcase.
Mm-hmm. I love
First,
that
and then,
little, what was it, a 4-issue miniseries, I think, the Sword of the Atom? That was a good one.
oh, yeah. The last issue of Edge to complete the thing came out after his death.
Oh, wow.
Stephen Grant, who worked with Stephen Grant on this, that I remember from Badger.
Yeah.
Look at that cover.
That dude was around for a long time, man.
Got started at 16.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
I
Jimmy
love these.
Palmiotti, you know?
I love these fantasy masterpiece
Or,
run, you know. They reprint a lot of the Atlas stuff that Ditko and Kirby worked on together.
yeah.
They reprint like Old Captain America and Submariner and Human Torch stories from the Golden Age, from the 40s. And they're only about like 11 issues of them, so pick them all up. They're all good, you know. And
Yeah,
they got
and it's
some of
not
them
like
got
it's
wonderful Gil Kane covers.
It's not such a huge run that you can't actually, you know, collect the whole thing either. So
I think in a lot of ways, Gil Kane with his covers like this defined the 70s era of comics.
oh yeah, I would
Because
agree with that.
besides Al Milgrom, he probably did more covers for Marvel than anybody.
Yeah. Again, I forget what the number was. Somebody in the chat researched it the other day, and it was either
Look at
800 and
that.
something or 8,000 and something. I don't remember which one.
Look at that. Oh, and he
The
redesigned
Man-Wolf,
it, you know, took that character and made him into Man-Wolf.
Yeah.
You know, he was a
I like
person that was
Man-Wolf.
at
He never
the
really got a lot of play though.
he was at the you could say he was the right person at the right time, you know, in a lot of instances. That's a cool
Yeah.
one where he's getting sucked into the battery.
Oh. That can't be good.
This is gonna hurt. Look at that.
Yeah. My balls.
Yeah. Avengers, early Avengers, number 37 cover. Now there's Colossus, a different kind of Colossus.
Ah, yes.
There's another fantasy masterpiece, a good one too, number 9 with the origin of the Human Torch, the android.
Oh, the original Human Torch. Cool.
Yeah, the fantasy masterpieces featured the Golden Age Human Torch and Fluoro.
I don't think I ever got any of these fantasy masterpieces.
I didn't get the original of this, but I got the reprint in Marvel Triple Action. That was an early comic, you know, and that had Hercules in there and this cover by Gil Kane.
Yeah, I used to like those triple actions. I didn't even realize they were
reprints
reprints at the time.
Yeah, it kind of confused me
Homer says
too.
I'm echoing. I'm gonna pop out. I'll be right back, Rick.
Okay. This is a wonderful Monsters on the Prowl, number 14. Look at that. I'll just pick up this truck and drop this girl and that guy and, just go on a rampage. Return of the Titan. This character here was the original Hulk character called Hulk, if you didn't know. I didn't know this. Off the Shelf Brain Boy was I'm aware of Brain Boy. I've been aware of Brain Boy, I guess, since the early 80s. Short-lived superhero comic created by Herb Castle and artist Gil Kane. I didn't know that part of it. Published by Dell Comics in 1962 and 63, reprinted here by Dark Horse Comics. Brain Boy is an interesting thing that Dale did. Wonderful Kazar. Look at that. Come here, you. Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape. Sabu is Marvel Triple Action started out with reprinting some Fantastic Four stories, though, but then it quickly, most of them are reprints of the early Avengers. But the very first ones, like on number 3 here, are the Fantastic Four. Kane did it over 800 covers for Marvel, and that's just the Marvel work. Yeah, I can well believe that. Look at this one, man. Oh, you shot me in the gut, my God. Don't mess with the howlers. Yeah, some of my favorite favorite comic covers are from this era, and ones that I got to buy. I started at 25 cents, so none of these 20 centers, but still wonderful covers. Some of the greatest ones that I really covet and enjoy have Gil Kane covers. Such a variety of different genre. I have to remember this one with the medallions on the hat. That's cool. Create a new character. Didn't much care for some of these warlock covers, and like this one, it's okay. It's better than 9 times out of 10. Now some of these Sergeant Furies that he did, this is wonderful with the child. He's trying to save the kid. And kid's sitting there crying. Bombs are coming down. Awesome on the coloring as well. Whoever colored that. Welcome back, Shadowhawk. Look at this cover, Shadow. Reminds me of a Marie Severin cover done for DC Comics, where the child is there crying, and they're like, "Did you hear something?" And they're kind of, but man, you talk about drama here.
Yeah,
how much he fit in there. All the bombs coming down, the planes and the explosions, and look at Dum Dum Dugan. He's diving for cover. Great. And look how much he put into that. This Marvel Greatest Comics reprinted all the early Fantastic Four covers. And look at the depth of that cover. Very simple.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
But where the hidden land? That's probably where Black Bolt and Medusa and all the Inhumans live. Now, this was my first Spidey comic, and he did the cover to it. So yeah, this has got to be in my top 10.
Oh, very cool.
That's my first Spidey I ever bought, and the beginning of the clone story. I just couldn't resist 2 Spideys on one cover. I was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, you had to pick it up, didn't you? Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, doppelganger, and he's old school. The jackal is putting fire to the dynamite that's going to blow up the building and the guy while they fight.
Yeah.
Look at that. Number 4, Marvel Team Up number
Spidey
4.
and X-Men. There you go.
And I actually had a acetate plate to this till about 2 years ago, and I sold it.
Oh, wow.
So I actually had an acetate plate, a protection plate to that splash page. I like this one. Look at that. Just coming. Look at that. Just lumbering towards them.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
cool.
expression on Conan's face, like, let me just ease over and get my sword.
Yeah.
The
Hold on
thing
one
in the
second, and I'll
Yeah,
be
just
ready
give
to
me
talk.
just 1 second. Look at that. Great splash
I'll
page.
be right with you.
Yeah, I'll be right with you. You're right. I think I showed this one earlier. He's a wild El Jaguar. He's wild looking character.
Yeah.
And that Bob Brown with Vince Coletta interiors. Look, oh, this is the early one. Check that out. 1950s. New
No, that's
series
wild.
TV Big Town. Done by DC. Let's see. On Celebrity Jeopardy, I'll take TV shit show for $200. That's TV hit show, Mr. Connery. Joe Gillen on there we go. He did some wonderful Daredevil covers.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Oh, I got this one too.
I mean, how dramatic, how cinematic, right?
Yeah, it's great. And I love
It
the little
always,
triple panel. Look at the 3 little panels of Bullseye in the background. Nobody does that these days.
yeah, on the screens. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
different cameras, angles.
Yeah, I like just the way he composed his covers was so fucking good.
1976, really the year that I started collecting heavily. This was one of my first covers, first books right here. Gil Kane.
Nice.
The Blood Brothers.
The Blood Brothers.
Yeah, I still remember that.
Fear wears 2 faces.
George Tuska and Vince Coletta insides. Look at that. Look at that splash page.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a great story. One of my favorites. So that's got to be in one of my personal favorites. I don't think Gil Kane did the interiors to this. I think this is a Dave Cockrum cover. Look at that. Look at that early Wolverine costume. The tribal. If he was in the Legion of Superheroes, maybe.
Right. All right, Rex. Well, I'm gonna get wrapping it up here. I gotta take a little rest and see if I can get some dinner before I do the sardine stream tonight. 7 o'clock on Shadowhawk Talks. Everybody, please come by. Thanks for having me as always. Love you guys.
Oh yeah, you're going to do
Brian,
the
anybody
sardine
want to
stream
come in?
tonight, and I had to work tonight.
Oh, you got to work tonight too?
Yeah, I got to work at 6:15. So as soon as I finish here, I got to rush off and
Oh,
go
wow.
to work.
Yeah. So,
Probably going downwind.
yeah.
I went to Truman last night and got to work for like 5 hours and 15 minutes. So better than nothing.
Yeah.
Did
Hey,
I
that's not too
actually got
bad.
done 13 minutes early.
Really? I was gonna say
Did my
5, 6
ozone.
hours is usually about your day, right? I mean, depending on the route.
Yeah, I mean a good day might be 7 hours. I think one
Right.
time and really I was doing every nook and cranny. I was overdoing it. And this was early on when I started working. I was out 9 hours, and they were like, "Don't ever do that again," or at least the secretary. The boss has never really gotten on to me. Not really. I've always done a good job, and I must say this year I am killing it. I am actually finishing my zones, which is, if they give me enough time, I can, but also you got to know how to do them so you don't waste a lot of time, right? So I'm experienced. I'm actually finishing. Yeah, be proficient at it, and I'm actually finishing sometimes early, and I'm like, actually, okay, this is less money on my paycheck, but it looks good,
Right.
to finish early every now and then, Nobody else is doing it, I bet.
Probably not.
Because I'm just
all right. Well,
good.
hey, all you beautiful people. I will see you guys later at the sardine stream if you want to drop by. If not, I will see you all tomorrow.
All righty then. Spider-Man clone. Yeah, it's a long story, dear. That was a plot line that they picked up from that issue, long ago. Uh, they probably had a lot of bodybuilder friends to look at. They practiced drawing at the gym. How else do you do correct anatomy like that? I, I don't know. Been interesting to to see, huh? Nice Thor here. Look at that. Look again. Look how he composes it. This is one of his simpler covers, but I mean, you've only got finite space, right? Always dramatic. Look at that. Love when he puts stuff in the foreground, like that one guy who's been shot. A lot going on there. That anatomy. It just the kneecaps and everything. The kneecaps and elbows are uniquely Gil Kane, but the musculature. Here's one of the very first appearances of Green Lantern in Showcase Presents. That's where he first made his first appearance. It was in Showcase, along with this is the first appearance of the Atom. Now I don't have this one. This one's a very expensive book, but I never thought I would, for about under $25. I actually bought a good Atom #2 Showcase. So his second appearance in comics. I never thought I would own that with a Gil Kane cover. This is a Gil Kane cover. So you stick around collecting long enough, you never know what you'll, own, come up with. I'd like to compare this with the original and see if this is the original color or if this has been recolored. Looks a little too new. Look at that Red Wolf piece. Look at that. He inked that himself with the felt tip pen. Who knows? He might have even done the lettering down there. Such versatility in his work, though. Such attention to detail. And all this done on a time limit. That's what's amazing. Look at this one. This one's particularly nice. I'm going to have to pick up some of these Sergeant Furies because these really have some nice Gil Kane covers. Some of his best, really. Knight Rider, first Ghost Rider. They renamed him Knight Rider when they came up with the new Ghost Rider because the original character was called Ghost Rider instead of Knight Rider. I actually have the #1 issue, I think. That's #1 right there. Here's #6. See again in the foreground. That's Gil Kane inking himself again. with the felt tip pen, which was unusual for the time. Only he and Alex Toth was actually doing it. Very few people were. A lizard. Now this is a Joe Kubert cover here, but it's based on this earlier Gil Kane cover from the 50s. And this would have been like early 70s. And he did reimagine, Joe Kubert did reimagine some of those old covers, and he actually reimagined some of his own work from the 1970s. This is particularly nice. I think I actually had a production acetate to this one at one time. It just fits all the foes in there. Adolf Hitler head. Did Gil Kane create any characters? Yes, we covered that earlier in the stream. So many. No relation to Bob Kane. What's a typical deadline for him to draw a cover? It's hard to say because he worked for like MLJ. He worked for different deadlines. It might have been we're way behind on this title. You know, um, it's hard to say, but you have to think um, all the time. What was when looking at comic book artwork? How much time did he really have to do all this? This has got to be in my top 10 covers. I started collecting Avengers with issue 147, which was a Rich Buckler cover. The next one, 148, was a Jack Kirby cover. And George Perez did the next one, which was that Orca cover I was talking about. But this one of my favorite with the beast right there and all them lined up ready to fight. Squadron Sinister, which would later become Squadron Supreme. One of my favorite Gil Kane covers here. Just wonderful standoff cover in a wonderful era of Avengers. Ryan, if you haven't gotten the prior, couple of that I showed you of essentials, if they've got those, check them out. You'll love them. Great run. I think it rivaled anything that the X-Men was doing at the time. And again, the color very, very discernible. And this is early. The interiors are. This is early George Perez stuff. Inked by very weak inks, I think, by Vince Coletta. He never really brought a dramatic look, you know, with his inks. But it was good enough for me. Another Gil Kane here. What a great splash page. Ralph Reese doing the inking. Robert Bloch story here. Adapted into comics. Gil Kane cover here. Love when the bad guy is so much larger. See if he did the interiors. Nope. Steve Ditko. Wow. George Rousseau on the, at least on this. I don't know if this was a reprint issue. Every now and then they do a reprint issue. You're going to like this one, Ryan. Look at there. Dead Man's Escape. I entered the dimension of doom. Oh, yeah, I love this cover. I've actually got this one in my collection. What a wonderful cover. Just the size difference and that he got all this in there, you know? What a wonderful cover. Very dramatic. Going up against Sunfire. Number 27. I'm so glad this is Jekyll and Hyde transformation. I'm so glad that he came to Marvel. Here's the man, passed away age 73 in 2000 after battling lymphoma over a decade. Despite undergoing chemotherapy and radiation treatments, he maintained the artistic integrity and skill of an impressively high level throughout the 1990s with Ring of the Nibelung and continuing through the Edge series with Malibu and his final works for DC and Dark Horse. Kane remained a master of his craft. In fact, many believe that he only got better with age. This photograph, taken in 1997, shows him still deeply engaged in his work, demonstrating the dedication that defines his career. Absolutely. I think he'll be known as one of the greats for sure. British version here, 8p for that. And I know he looked at Jack Kirby, for dynamism. I mean, he learned a lot from Jack Kirby. In a lot of ways, I think there's that same one, original artwork. He kind of superseded him in a lot of things. Here's that one again. Let's see. Yeah, Werewolf by Night. Just giant size werewolf. No by night in there. I can tell by the inking on this one. That's Klaus Janson. Klaus Janson got to ink a lot of Gil Kane stuff, especially in the 70s. Here's a Hawk and Dove cover he did and inked himself. Short lived. I think it only lasted like 6 issues. A lot of Green Lantern. He'll always be known as a seminal Green Lantern because he did almost 100 issues. More than that later on, but I mean, in his original run, he did just shy of 100 issues. I think if I was as close to like doing 97, 98 issues, I would have just done a few more just to hit the 100 mark. Look at that. Oh, I have this one in my collection, Red Wolf #1. That's a nice one. Sort of Western character. This is nice. Just a guy comes out of a time capsule and these giant insects rule the earth. Whoops. Better want to get back in there. Marvel Tales reprinted, but often with original covers. A nice one. That's a Greg Murray recreation, actually, from Gil Kane. Always bringing the pathos and the emotion. Yeah, these Creature Commando covers that he did, great. Love a good burst through cover. skull cover, GI robot right there. Wonderful. You can get the trade paperback for that. I actually have the trade paperback of all that stuff. Look at that cityscape with the bridge in the back. Look at the depth of that. Look at that. All the cars on the street back there lit up. It's wonderful. Almost the way he composed this, I can almost see. It almost looks like Gene Colan, something Gene Colan would do. Just checking the chat. Just looks like old Pulp Fiction covers, time capsules. They paid him well. Yeah. No relationship to Bob Kane, no. Did Gil Kane create his own characters? He created, you know, some of his own characters, yes, but he co-created with the writers a lot. So he's co-creator of like Tigera and a bunch. You know, if you want to know, just Wikipedia it. You know, it's got all that information. I read that earlier. Too numerous really to mention here. I always love the giant looming bad guy over the city, you know, over the heroes where they're so small. It's just so dramatic. This is some of his early stuff from maybe Carmen Infantino doing the inking over Gil Kane, Headline Comics number 19 for 1946. So early Gil Kane artwork in comics. I have a few other examples down here. Wonderful Defenders covers. So like I say, when I got the Avengers annual in 1976, it was also the Defenders were in there, and all these wonderful Gil Kane covers were in there, and I was like, wow, it's the Defenders. I got to get some Defenders. And one of my first books was Defenders number 15. So with Sal Buscema artwork on the inside. So you know, no brainer. Just wonderful sort of anti team. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. That's what I'm drinking today. Some Folgers instant. I did like the taster's choice, though. This is something you might not have seen. Giants has annual number 1 preliminary and final cover artwork. So he was big on doing preliminary sketches and laying stuff out. I think Dan Fraga's got a bunch of his preliminary stuff, or at least copies of it, that he kind of studies. A lot of this stuff we do on computer now, right? Through digital artwork. Well, he did it by hand to compose to one of the most iconic covers. To the final result there. Bunch of daredevils. Again, some of his early stuff. Strange Adventures from the 50s. I actually have this one here. This predates, you know, by about 10 years. More than 10 years, about 15 years. Well, somewhere in there, you know, less than 15, more than 10 years of Planet of the Apes. This stuff was in Pulp Fiction for a long time. Look at that one. Wow. That's cool. That's a neat one too. Early DC stuff. Monster in My Pocket cover by Harvey Comics. Gil Kane cover. That's cool. I had to get that one for my collection at some point. They kind of went with a framing device, you can tell in the 70s where the logo and everything would be big. So did DC around that time. It's just amazing how incestuous DC and Marvel were. Some of his interior work here. Looks like he inked himself and all this. You can kind of tell by the line. Yeah, it just says Gil Kane. Don't see an inker. Is there an inker? Tom Sutton. Okay, so Tom Sutton inks. Okay. Well, he stuck really close to Gil Kane's line in that. Look at the positioning of the body. Who does that? Contortion and stuff. Only Gil Kane. So masterfully. Conan. And the various inkers would disguise this stuff, It doesn't really scream Gil Kane to me, but you look at the knees and the positioning and stuff, it's Gil Kane. That's definitely Gil Kane on the insides. Tom Sutton again on the inks. Tom Sutton did a lot of work. Here he played it into the book himself. His name is Kane. Ain't that cool? Just draw yourself into the story. Did some treasury covers as well. Smell my feet. Kia! Did some wonderful Captain America covers for sure. Just checking in with the chat. Time capsules. Looks like it. Wonderful cover here, just where she's standing off, and you're look at the matchbox, the matchsticks, and the bottles and papers and everything. It's so cool. Detailing. That's great. Look at that. Better get out of the way, or I'm going to land on you. Things like, whoa, that expression. I may not survive this one. Look at this one. War is hell. Hell yeah. Living vampire ventures into fear. These are the ones that Shadow has all of them, and really likes this run. This was some of his first comics. It's interesting. I started off really the first Marvel superhero for me to read in a book was in this Vampire Tales #5, and it was a rerun of the Gil Kane, reprint of the Gil Kane from his origin. It was all about vampires, and they worked him in there on a reprint of a little portion of it from Amazing Spider-Man 102, his second appearance in comics. Just a diversity of stuff. My gosh, we could do 3 streams on his stuff. Now, tomorrow, we're going to have Ed Hudson on, and we'll be talking with him about comics and crowdfunding and and conventions. I know he goes to a lot of conventions. So we'll be doing something a little bit different. This was like 1984. Yeah, 83, 84. He was inking his own stuff with the Flair pen. And I got a lot of this DC stuff with Gil Kane covers that were drawn and inked by him. Again, look at the very simplified buildings, but look how far back in space he goes with it. It's sort of Gil Kane shorthand at the time. I dug it. It was okay. Brother Voodoo cover. I think maybe his third appearance in comics. That was looks like interiors by Gene Colan. Well, Gene Colan worked there. There's some of his Micronauts. Would have been interesting to stick him on Legion of Superheroes and see what he would have done with a bunch of characters. But yeah, when you compare the two, you know, DC and Marvel, I think he did like this some of his best work and design. Look at the rocks going off, just even in the little corner of the, you know, uh, tomorrow I will show you that Thongor that I really like, designed by him. I think I've got a Gil Kane All-Star Western as well. These were twin brothers here. I remember buying this one on the stands. He did a lot of the covers of the Green Lanterns that I read in the 80s. Joe Staton and Bob Smith on the interiors of that issue, but with a wonderful Gil Kane cover. Here's number 17. $1969. Look at this crowd scene by Gil Kane, where the Justice League's meeting the new Teen Titans. Got Red Tornado in there. Just amazing how prolific he was. Shootout on a football field. How about that? Spidey really gets around. I love the webbing under the arm. This has got to be one of my favorite Gil Kane covers. I've actually got this one in my coverage, my collection. I love the characters, you know, in the foreground, like that, breaking the little box that they give him. You know, he goes all the way to the edge with it, where it's leaping out at you. If you got that on the stands or saw that, it's like, yeah, I got to have that. That's pretty cool. You don't see that every day. Just amazing, you know. We could sit here all day looking at 800 different covers he just did for Marvel. Some do it for me, some don't. You know, it's more of the subject matter, really. All the stuff he did was good. First appearance here of Spider Woman, Marvel Spotlight. I've got like 4 or 5 copies in my collection. Various grades, some from high to low, but most of them pretty decent shape. Need to sell some of them off, you know. They need to do a Spider Woman, a good Spider Woman movie, and then everybody will be selling them. Wonderful use of just the double image, you know, of the character. This one I actually have in my collection. This is a Bazaar. Again, with this sort of box in 70s. And you know, like I said, DC Comics was doing it kind of the same way too at this time. King size annual number 6. King of the Forgotten People. Yep, did the interiors here. Let's see who the inker was. Can't tell. George Rousseau's. Okay. He also inked some early, decades earlier. He'd been an inker for a long time. Inked some early Jack Kirby stuff. And Avengers, and look at the interior work. Look at that. Amazing stuff. If it's a Gil Kane, even if it isn't his best work, which is debatable, you're going to get, this looks like Joe Staten did the inks on this over Gil Kane. I actually have this one in my collection. Werewolf by Night covers are some of the nicest, really, that he did. Need to bring this back to comics, and then comics would become, I think, popular again, as long as the stories were good. Because these covers be popping, right? Crack-a-lacking. Just checking the chat. Not very chatty today. Everybody just hanging out, which is great after Labor Day weekend, plus a day, couple of days now. Son of Satan's. That Gil Kane cover with all the mermen there. Drown him. Kill him. 12-cent Batman, probably from 67. Checker top cover. Fire and Ice, long before Frazetta or Ralph Bakshi did it. Some of you will get it. Yeah, he redesigned the costume for Captain Marvel. Love this cover. It's just sexy. It's good use of color. Wonderful magenta. I'm going to have to do an all magenta cover at some point. Pretty much all magenta. There's one of those early Marvel triple actions, starting very early on and reprinting the Avengers stuff. We might do some more. Here's early Gil Kane artwork. Headline Comics number 20, 1946. Bernie Kriegstein doing the inking. And we'll leave you off with this one. Little Conan horse. See, we're right at the 2-hour mark. So hope you enjoyed all this. Hey, Tank Ferret. If you like Gil Kane, go back and watch this one. Gil Kane biopsy and bio, and showing a lot of his stuff, and maybe I'll look around and find some that are gill cane covers that are in my collection and show them tomorrow. But rather doubtful because, like I said, we have Eric Hodson coming on tomorrow, so we'll interview him. And then maybe Friday, Dr. Mask is going to be on with us again Friday, I believe. So, and we'll get it more into gill cane and show some more gill cane stuff because gill cane is amazing, absolutely. Um, Got to clock in 15 minutes, so I guess I better say keep collecting and ciao for now.